Hello and welcome to India Business Hour. I'm Ashmit Kumar and here are the headlines that we're tracking this evening. A torrid start to 2025 on the Lal Street as Sensex and Nifty declined for the third straight week. Mid-caps and small caps get battered.
This is very simple. Come make your product in America and we will give you among the lowest taxes of any nation on earth.
Make in America or face tariffs, says the US President Donald Trump to global leaders and CEOs at Davos. Targets the European Union for what he calls is unfair treatment towards American companies, puts pressure on the US Fed to cut rates and OPEC to reduce oil prices. Petroleum Minister Hardeep Puri welcomes Trump's statement, nudging OPEC to cut oil prices, plays down the impact of US sanctions on Russian oil, says there is enough oil supplies available in the world. From data centers to artificial intelligence to green energy, top union ministers and chief ministers woo investors to India, seal investment pledges worth nearly 20 lakh crores at the World Economic Forum in Davos. Top Indian bankers flag liquidity concerns at Davos even as they welcome recent measures by the RBI to conduct daily repo auctions. Bankers believe a rate cut is imminent in February but remain cautious on growth. IndiGo's third quarter profits decline over 18% due to forex losses of over 1,400 crore rupees. Revenues rise nearly 14% year-on-year as fuel costs decline. Sri Lanka's new government set to renegotiate power purchase agreement with Adani Green signed by the previous government at over 8 cents per kilowatt. Sources say Adani's plan to build a wind power plant has not been cancelled but put under review. Adani Group claims that the PPA has not been revoked. 8 people are killed and 7 injured after an explosion at an ordnance factory in Maharashtra's Bhandara. 2 people have been rescued and the relief operations continue. A US federal judge temporarily blocks President Donald Trump's decision to revoke birthright citizenship, calls it blatantly unconstitutional, prohibits the Trump administration from implementing the executive order until its legality has been established. Over 22 states, along with activist groups, have already filed lawsuits across the country opposing the executive order. Odisha tops the Niti Aayog's Fiscal Health Index for 2025, followed by Chhattisgarh and then Goa. Kerala, West Bengal, Andhra Pradesh and Punjab need fiscal improvements. Novak Djokovic retires injured midway through the Australian Open semi-final after a muscle tear. Djokovic pledges to continue his hunt for a 25th Grand Slam as he shrugs off the disappointment. Well, let's start with a look at the market action. It's been a torrid start to 2025 on the Lal Street, to say the least. The Sensex and the Nifty have declined for the third straight week. This is the first time in 3 months that we are seeing red on the screen for 3 weeks in a row. The Nifty has moved closer to the 23,000 mark. The mid-caps and the small caps, meanwhile, have been battered in trade. Well, let's shift our focus now to the top global story that we are tracking this evening. A threat to global ink, a pitch for cheaper oil, and a signal towards the Fed. Donald Trump has used his virtual address at the World Economic Forum in Davos to mark his return to the global stage. Trump, who has a self-admitted proclivity towards tariffs, deployed the carrot and the stick approach. He has urged all companies to manufacture in America or face the brunt of tariffs. That's not all. Trump said, and I quote, "Come make your product in America and we will give you among the lowest taxes of any nation on earth," unquote. He has vowed to slash corporate tax rates to 15% for companies who make in America. Trump also hit out at the European Union for treating American companies unfairly, making it difficult for US businesses to bring products into Europe. He also urged Saudi Arabia and the oil lobby, OPEC, to cut oil prices and help end the Russia-Ukraine war. Trump believes that if OPEC cuts prices, it will strike a body blow to Russia's oil revenues, which are being used to fund the protracted war. Promising a golden age for America, Trump further vowed to reduce inflation and make US the AI and crypto capital of the world. He has also said that he will demand that the Fed cut interest rates immediately.
My message to every business in the world is very simple. Come make your product in America, and we will give you among the lowest taxes of any nation on earth. We're bringing them down very substantially, even from the original Trump tax cuts. But if you don't make your product in America, which is your prerogative, then very simply you will have to pay a tariff, differing amounts, but a tariff which will direct hundreds of billions of dollars and even trillions of dollars into our treasury. With oil prices going down, I'll demand that interest rates drop immediately, and likewise, they should be dropping all over the world. Interest rates should follow us. All over, the progress that you're seeing is happening because of our historic victory in a recent presidential election. Also going to ask Saudi Arabia and OPEC to bring down the cost of oil. You got to bring it down, which frankly, I'm surprised they didn't do before the election. That didn't show a lot of love by them not doing it. I was a little surprised by that. If the price came down, the Russia-Ukraine war would end immediately. Right now, the price is high enough that that war will continue. You got to bring down the oil price. You got to end that war.
Well, crude oil prices edged higher but remained on track for a weekly decline after US President Donald Trump urged Saudi Arabia and the OPEC nations to lower prices during his speech at the World Economic Forum in Davos. Brent crude prices were hovering around $78 per barrel. Responding to Trump's statement, Oil Minister Hardeep Singh Puri said that India will benefit if OPEC countries agree to do so. Speaking to CNBC-TV18 Santiago, he also dismissed concerns over US sanctions on Russian oil. Puri said that it will not impact India's supply basket. He added that many countries will be ready to sell oil to India as it is a huge buyer.
There's enough oil available in the world market. Today, we used to import earlier from 27 countries. We took that to 39. You can be comfortable in the sense that because you're a large buyer, there are a lot of people who want to sell it to you.
Right.
And also, since February 22, sometimes one supplier is higher, sometimes the other. So there's no cause for concern at all.
Speaking at the World Economic Forum, Donald Trump said that he's going to ask the OPEC to bring down the cost of crude barrel.
What a lovely sentiment. I hope they agree immediately.
Yeah, we all do, sir. But what if it happens? What will it mean for India, sir?
If oil prices come down, it means very good for those who are largely importing oil. One or two of my companies are cynical because they extract and export. So they'll be doing choo-choo. I tell them to diversify their revenue. But as a country, we will benefit by lower oil prices.
Now, India's private sector activity has slowed to a 14-month low in January. The HSBC India Composite PMI reading showed that activity in January slowed down to 57.9 from a 4-month high of the previous month. This was largely attributed to slowdown in growth amongst private sector companies at the start of this year. Now, India's largest airline, IndiGo, has reported third quarter earnings. Profits declined by 18% compared to the same period of last year due to forex losses to the tune of 1,400 crore rupees. Revenue growth was nearly 14% and fuel costs were sharply lower. Margins at over 23% were below estimates. Now, Madhya Mujawar is joining us now for more on that. Madhya, help us decode some of these earnings numbers.
Well, profit is down year on year by 18%. But if you look at the quarter on quarter numbers, then the airline has actually done quite well, as Q2 was a loss of 988 crores. So the profit was primarily hit due to a weakening rupee. So if you exclude the foreign exchange loss of 1456 crores, then the profit number stands at 3,850 crores. Remember, airlines pay their lease rentals in dollars and even maintenance payments. So a strong dollar means more rupee going into these payments. Also, IndiGo has 437 aircraft and 33 of them are on damp lease or wet lease, which adds to higher lease costs. Now, to protect itself from currency depreciation, the IndiGo management in its earnings call with analysts said that 10% of the airline's revenue comes from international operations. So the aim is to keep growing that international operations to have a natural hedge to handle the currency volatility against the dollar. On the capacity front, the management said that the aircraft on ground are down from 70s earlier to 60s and are likely to come down further to the range of 40s in the next fiscal. The airline for the first time has confirmed that it is exploring options of wet leasing long-range aircraft to advance its international expansion. Remember, the airline had earlier planned to use the Airbus A350 wide-body planes that it had ordered last year for its long-route international expansion that are likely to arrive by 2027, but now it seems the airline wants to advance that expansion plan. And on the capacity front, IndiGo is expecting its capacity to grow by 20% in the next quarter from 12% in the third quarter. The airline said it has added 38 international routes and will end this year with 40. Then the IndiGo stretch configured aircraft are deployed on the Delhi-Bangalore route as well after Delhi-Mumbai and will soon be deployed on Delhi-Chennai route as well. So it was a bullish commentary from the IndiGo management and a strong guidance for the fourth quarter.
Right, Madhya, thanks a lot for that update. Now, Sri Lanka's new government is set to renegotiate power purchase agreement with Adani Green signed by the previous government at over 8 cents per kilowatt. Now, sources say that Adani's plan is to build a wind power plant has not been cancelled but put under review. Adani Group claims that PPA has not been revoked. Parishat Luthra is joining us now with more details. Parishat.
The Sri Lankan government is all set to renegotiate a power purchase agreement with the Adani Group. In May last year, the previous Sri Lankan government under Ranil Wickremesinghe had agreed to buy electricity at 8.2 cents per kilowatt from Adani Green Energy. This was part of a 20-year power purchase agreement with Adani Green Energy for development of wind power stations to produce 484 megawatt of power. Now, the new administration under Anura Kumara Dissanayake has revoked the tariff agreement with the Adani Group at 8.2 cents per kilowatt, which had been agreed upon initially by the previous government. The overall deal itself has not been cancelled. The Sri Lankan government sources have told CNBC-TV18 that the Dissanayake government had a cabinet meeting recently and a decision was taken to have a cabinet-appointed project committee and a cabinet-appointed negotiating committee to re-evaluate the tariffs under the power purchase agreement with the Adani Group. The government-appointed committees will now review and renegotiate the power tariffs with the Adani Group. The company issued a statement refuting reports about the cancellation of the 484 megawatt wind power projects in Mannar and Punarin in Sri Lanka. The Adani Group has said that a standard review process is on within the Sri Lankan government, and the company remains committed to investing $1 billion in Sri Lanka's green energy sector.
Right, Parishat, thanks so much for that. Now, a US federal judge has temporarily blocked President Donald Trump's decision to revoke Birthright citizenship, calling it blatantly unconstitutional. That order prohibits the Trump administration from implementing the order until its legality has been established. Over 22 states, along with activist groups, have already filed lawsuits across the country opposing the executive order. And well, speaking of Trump, a Wipro executive chairperson, Rishad Premji, expressed excitement over the potential positive impact of the new US administration on business and industry. Speaking to CNBC-TV18 on the sidelines of the World Economic Forum at Davos, Premji also noted that the effects of Trump's tariffs and immigration policies are yet to be known. On his outlook for 2025, he said that he anticipates a gradual increase in discretionary spending.
The new administration, I think, certainly talks about being very pro-business, pro-industry, pro-growth, which I think will unfold in terms of how regulation unfolds, how taxation unfolds. And so I'm excited about what that presents for our industry. We'll also have to wait and watch what it means for tariffs and what it means for immigration. And so what it just generally means for inflation and how that creates some sort of a complexity in the unfolding of the pro-growth, pro-business agenda. I mean, it's just starting as we've been a few weeks into it. I'm hopeful that, we should see a better year than 24. I'm hopeful that discretionary spend should pick up gradually, but pick up as we move into 25. And I get great comfort in our specific case from our consulting business, right, which is highly discretionary, and they've had a good 24, and that momentum seems to be staying and sticking. So I'm looking forward to 25.
And staying with Davos, bankers at the World Economic Forum have said that the liquidity in the market continues to remain tight. SBI chairperson C.S. Setty has said that while there is liquidity deficit, the availability of on-tap liquidity from the Reserve Bank definitely is a good indicator. Amitabh Chaudhary, CEO of Axis Bank, has said that the rate cuts may not spur growth. Take a look.
There are some important measures the regulator has taken off late, particularly to infuse additional liquidity.
Has it helped?
Particularly daily VRR definitely had sent signal to the market that the liquidity support from the central bank will always be available. We are able to see the change in the market perception in terms of the liquidity availability. While the system liquidity is still tight and is deficit, but the availability on tap liquidity from RBI definitely is a good indicator.
I think what the system needs more is liquidity back in the system. One, secondly, deposit growth to pick up a little bit. We also need some of the macro, regulations which RBI has brought in or is talking about bringing in. RBI to kind of, sit back and think through as to how they want to implement it and when they want to implement it. For example, if they implement the LCR, kind of the draft guidelines as the way they exist, we are talking about 5 to 7 lakh crores being taken out of the system. So it will have an impact. So my view is that on the rate cut, they might do it to give a signal, but is it going to spur economic growth? I'm not so sure.
Well, the Reserve Bank of India has imposed a penalty on 3 banks for non-compliance with several norms. Bank of India will have to pay a penalty of 1 crore rupees, while Canara Bank will have to pay a penalty of 1.6 crore rupees. The penalty imposed on Jammu and Kashmir Bank is of 3.3 crore rupees. Now, an appetite for AI and a dash for data centers have been one of the big India themes at Davos. While India's cooperative federalism was in full display at the Davos promenade, so was states' affinity towards data centers. From Andhra Pradesh to Maharashtra to Telangana to Tamil Nadu, ministers laid out their investment pipelines exclusively on CNBC-TV18.
So what has the Maha pitch resulted in terms of MOUs? The last count I had was about 50 plus. Where are you now?
Yeah. So it's 60 plus and around $200 billion. Okay. So it's huge investment that is coming, and it is coming in diverse sectors. We could actually we had MOUs with giants like Amazon, Microsoft into data centers. We had a lot of MOUs into manufacturing. We had a lot of MOUs into new technologies. We have a lot of MOUs into manufacturing. Manufacturing is, of course, our own forte.
Yes.
So a lot of MOUs have gone into manufacturing.
We are focusing more on AI and green energy and GCC centers, anyway data centers also. Most of the world's leading data centers are coming to Hyderabad. We are going to sign more MOUs in Davos only for data centers.
Okay.
So we are focusing AI, data centers and green energy. But these are the main focused areas we are focusing on.
So let me pick up on data centers. If you can give us some specifics on who you're signing that MOU with and when you expect that to be operationalized.
So actually, I don't want to disclose, but you are asking a specific question. Amazon is under pipeline. Amazon is going to invest, and Control S, Mr. Sridhar Reddy has signed, and other mega engineering, they are going to diversify in data centers.
AI in governance is nothing new for Mr. Naidu. No. So real-time governance was there. Now again, that's now under me. Once we return from Davos, you'll see a lot of activities again starting in AI in healthcare, AI in agriculture. So you'll see a lot of technology being used. Well, a data city, it'll be one of the world's largest. We're going to be making a lot of announcements in that
data
direction.
centers there?
Yes, data centers, and not just stopping at data centers, but building out the entire ecosystem around it. And parallelly, you will see a lot of GCC announcements, and of course, our homegrown biggies also now coming to Visakhapatnam in big numbers.
So we are going the R&D way. We are going the smart manufacturing way. The world is looking at smart manufacturing in a big way. AI is in. It's in. You cannot deny that. It's going to break a few jobs, but for me, I think it's going to make a lot of other jobs also, because of the talent that Tamil Nadu has, the talent which has been enabled by by over 100 years of Dravidian model governance. This has given us that talent capital with which I think today's world will find Tamil Nadu as the #1 destination for investments in the AI space.
And coming up on India Business Hour, Odisha tops the Niti Aayog's Fiscal Health Index for 2025, followed by Chhattisgarh and Goa. More on that when we come back. Welcome back. You're watching India Business Hour. Now, at least 8 people have been killed and 7 others injured after a massive blast at an ordnance factory in Maharashtra's Bhandara district. Officials have said that the blast occurred at 10:30 a.m. and was so intense that the effect was felt in villages nearby. The sound of the blast was also heard up to 5 kilometers away. Rescue operations are underway. Firefighters and ambulances were dispatched to the scene. A mystery illness in Jammu and Kashmir's Rajouri has resulted in the death of 17 people across 3 families since December of last year. The state government has begun investigations. The cause of this illness. Officials have confirmed that the victims initially displayed symptoms similar to food poisoning, but suddenly lost consciousness. Ishan Wani now joins us with more details. Ishan.
There are several teams dispatched by the MHA also to the ground to ensure that they're able to monitor the situation very carefully. A team of experts have also taken samples, and those samples have been shifted to several labs across India so that the results could be seen at what really is happening. Though there was an apprehension that, there is a possibility of contamination of a local spring where some chemicals were found. But then later on the family claimed that they never took water from that particular spring which was being claimed. But now the team of doctors are camping there. The Chief Minister has visited the spot, and several springs and the food is being checked to see what really is the cause behind it. But they are saying that certain neurotoxins have been found, and that could help further bridge the gap and really come out with the answers.
Now, Odisha is topping the Niti Aayog's Fiscal Health Index for 2025, followed by Chhattisgarh and then Goa. Kerala, West Bengal, Andhra Pradesh and Punjab, meanwhile, need fiscal improvement. Shivani Bazaz is joining us now with more details. Shivani.
The Niti Aayog's Fiscal Health Index 2025 has revealed a mixed fiscal performance among Indian states, with some leading the way, including financial management, while others face serious fiscal challenges. Now, the Fiscal Health Index ranks Indian states based on 5 key parameters, including revenue mobilization, quality of expenditure, fiscal prudence, debt index, and debt sustainability. Achievers like Odisha, Chhattisgarh, Goa, Jharkhand, and Gujarat top the list. Now, these states have maintained higher capital outlay at around 4% of their GSDP, effective mobilization of non-tax revenues, and also low interest payments, which are just 7% of their revenue receipts. Now, they've also managed to generate revenue surpluses. Following them are the front-runner states, including Maharashtra, Uttar Pradesh, Telangana, Madhya Pradesh, and Karnataka. These states spent 73% of their total expenditure on developmental activities, show consistent growth in tax revenue, and maintain a debt to GSDP ratio at a manageable 24%. The performance include Tamil Nadu, Rajasthan, Bihar and Haryana have done better in developmental spending but struggle with rising debt levels and high interest payouts of up to 20% of their revenue receipts. At the bottom are the aspirational states like Kerala, West Bengal, Andhra Pradesh and Punjab. They face fiscal and revenue deficits, poor revenue mobilization and an alarming rise in debt levels, raising serious questions about debt sustainability. The report serves as a wake-up call for states to strengthen fiscal discipline, address revenue deficits, and also ensure long-term financial stability. Back to you.
Well, with that, it's a wrap on this edition of India Business Hour. Thank you so much for watching. News and updates will continue right here on CNBC TV 18.